Hey everybody, my name's Tom Rees. I'm from a band called Buzzard Buzzard Buzzard, and I'd like to just thank you for watching Music News.
So I'm Rees from Buzzard Buzzard Buzzard. Congratulations, you've just finished 5 gigs in 24 hours, finishing here at the British Music Embassy in South by Southwest Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Thank you very much. I feel very good. I feel elated just to be finished, to be honest. Well, it's kind of like half-half, it's kind of like 50-50, you know what I mean? I'm quite elated to be finished because of how tired I am and physically exhausted I am, but also quite sad to be finished because it means it's the end of our journey in South by Southwest, you know what I mean? And it's been so great here. Like, I love Austin as a city, and I think I'm going to extrapolate that across, like, I love the United States, so we'll see. I would love to move here one day, you know? It's just great. Everyone here is super friendly and they really cherish music. So
I think your music will go down well here, clearly.
I think so, yeah. I think that's what's mainly driving my decision to move here is perhaps the money, perhaps people buying our records.
That'll happen. That'll happen in the UK as well. But yeah, when the record, you know, how is it?
Yeah. It's been great. I mean, we recorded it, I think, during lockdown in 2020, so it's taken a good amount of time for it to come out. But since it's been out, it's been great as well. The reception is, I think everything that happens to us, like, I'm always like pleasantly surprised with what happens. I always hold ourselves in quite low regard, and then when stuff goes well, it's like exciting, do you know what I mean? Instead of being disappointed. So we kind of made this record that for me was like a beautiful record, but I was kind of like, okay, if a couple people hear it, then that's just super cool, and if it affects some people, then that's great. But it charted on the vinyl charts and did loads of work, and like people seem to love it, and it's one of the contributing factors that got us here. So yeah, it's very exciting, very happy to have it out.
And how'd you come up with that sound then? You know,
I think it's for ages I was in like loads of indie bands, like trying to make it in indie rock bands, like writing songs about like lost loves I never had and stuff like that, fooling myself, you know. And I think after a while I was kind of like, oh, I kind of just got to go back and be honest with myself about what I actually like and what I actually love. And a lot of the times that is like the records that my dad used to pass down to me, like for old Zeppelin records, you know, and old like Zeppelin records and old Eagles records and Steely Dan records and stuff, you know. So I think it was more just about being honest about what I actually liked instead of trying to create music for an industry, which is something I was trying to do before. It just didn't really work. So I think that's kind of the whole, how would you say, like kind of collective consciousness of our band now is just whatever we do, as long as we do it honestly, it kind of has resonance, it kind of has effect, you know. I think that bleeds into like the live performance element of stuff as well. Like I love being honest with people about how I'm feeling when we're playing live, like whether I'm excited, elated, or tired.
I mean, very honest about that.
Yeah.
I mean, you would have never known if you hadn't said it.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think it adds to like the human element, you know what I mean, between people to be like, I'm really tired, you know. It like helps people connect to you and love the music a little bit more, I feel. You know.
Well, I've certainly added to the humorous element.
Yes,
you could be a stand-up.
Yeah. That's great. But I love doing that again. I think like humor is a really good, like, especially for like live performances, like humor is a really good function of like disengaging a somewhat skeptical audience. So if you get a bunch, especially in London, right, you go and play in London and there's very skeptical crowds and they're all very stone-faced. You tell a couple of jokes and everybody starts loosening up because they know that they're in, you know, they have something in common with each other. So and then when you play the music, they tend to get on board a little bit quicker. So I think the whole thing kind of works in that way. And like being from Wales, we all just chat shit all the time, do you know what I mean? So I can't stop myself. You know?
But it's a getting to know you. You're sort of speeding up the process.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is perfect. Yeah. And how does the song come about then? Buzzard, Buzzard, Buzzard. What's the process?
That's an interesting question. I'm more of like a kind of tradesman when it comes to writing, as opposed to some kind of like creative, I don't know what you would call it, some kind of like whimsical creative like fairy or something where ideas just spring upon you, do you know what I mean? I really have to like get blood from a stone, do you know what I mean? So it's more kind of like waking up in the morning and just working on music and just like working excessively. I think the way I've found that I function with writing music anyway is just like blocking out like 2 weeks of my life and then just shutting the blinds, shutting the doors and not speaking to anyone and just writing, and then 99% of that will be absolute trash and you just throw that out and then the 1% is good. But there's no Paul McCartney moments where I dream about writing yesterday and then I wake up, do you know what I mean? It's none of that, unfortunately.
Well, it might happen, never know.
You never know.
Yeah. And so back in the UK, what's sort of next on the release schedule?
We've got a tour in the UK in is it April now? No, it's March now. March, April. In April, I've completely lost track of time. In April, we're going out across the country in the UK, which is going to be super cool. We're doing like 4 days on, 3 days off throughout all of April, which is great. And then the goal is really just because I'm a producer and I work in our studio in Cardiff. We have a studio in Cardiff. It's just to record loads more stuff, like second record stuff, an EP or whatever, and just keep releasing music.
Have you thought about second album?
More increasingly so. I think this trip has been great for thinking about it as well. I mean, as a writer, you're always kind of thinking about it. I think more so I'm kind of just always worrying about it, being like, fuck, what are we going to do next? And so I think I have been, I think this trip has been great for it. And I'm always writing, do you know what I mean? We're very fortunate to have a studio, so if any ideas come through, then we can just record them straight away. So I just want to have like the maximum amount of creative output that we can, and play as much as we can to deliver that creative output. You know?
And it's sort of similar vein, or are you going
I think you have to push it along a little bit, otherwise it's kind of like there's only so long we can be that 70s pastiche cover band vibe. Do you know what I mean? So I think we'll try and push it on a little bit more. I think personally, like, it's great doing the big rock thing, but I'd like to write something a bit more personal, a bit more emotional, because then I feel like we spend a lot of time allowing people to get to know us, and if we write something a bit more personal, then it might strike pretty well. Do you know what I mean? And all my favourite artists always write personal music, so so I think that's the vibe.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure.
No worries.
For someone that hasn't got to Buzzard 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 yet,
yes.
What 3 songs would you say? Check these out.
Oh God, yeah, that's a good one. I'd say Break Right In is probably the main one. I like Good Day. That's my favourite one, but perhaps that's not everybody's favourite, but it's certainly mine. And then I think you got to do John Lennon's My Jesus Christ, because that's just the one that hits, right? You know. So yeah, I'd go for those 3 for sure.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. Anything else to say to Music News watchers out there?
I'm struggling to think of anything because I'm running on like 2 hours sleep. But all I can say is thank you, Music News, for supporting us here at South by Southwest.
Been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Indeed.
Nice
Cheers.
one, man. Take it easy.